All right, so let's get to lesson 60, the last of the lessons, online lessons for this week 5. H Radio 223 part timers, promotions, and queue builders, part 3 of 9. Coming out of your next level radio textbook, we are going to recap Fubby, but with reference or in context of our radio promotions. Okay, I've got two really cool videos to also include in this particular lesson. It's a nice short lesson, and I know that you do remember what Fubby is. So with those elements, I'm going to just kind of like scan over, right? And then when it does, obviously refer to how we do apply Fubby within radio promotions or radio contests or whatever it is. We'll have a little bit more of a deeper discussion in there. Okay. All right. So I wanted to start. So this time I did get a TED talk, right? And the TED talk, before we actually get into this particular the length of this particular slide in front of us, right? Is all about how to really like break into your creativity, and some good guidelines there. As you know, I keep saying, like, I'm just a big fan of TED Talks. Always got something great to say. You can always find some good advice on their channels. So go ahead and subscribe to them as well. Why not? Eh? Let's just remind ourselves why. I mean, in the business of radio, engaging on an emotional level is really what we are all about. Okay, we want to hold that listener and want to hold them strong, right? Get their attention and keep them connected to us, right? And that obviously depends on the quality and the context of our content, the relevance in their own life, like how interesting, surprising, fresh, or fun it is. And to be able to there was a referral to the emotional intelligence agency in the previous lesson as well. Like we had these things pop up. The EIA study determined that funny, useful, beautiful, inspiring content, which obviously then does produce Fubby without the extra B. I think the third the second B was for bold, to be bold, right? Remember that. Is it's tried and tested. I mean, this is researched and it's released stats, right? So we really need to look at these things that are funny, that are useful, that are beautiful, inspiring. Think how immediately obvious it is to all of us that these things make sense, right? They trigger some kind of emotional response and definitely immediately have us connected in some or other way. When it's funny, we have an emotional reaction. If it's useful, we find it, intriguing, and we process that information and say, oh, maybe we feel empowered by that. When it's beautiful, I mean, like that's like beauty in the eye of the beholder, I suppose. But the way that we can present beauty in so many different ways, a lot of us see beauty in the same, in many similarities, right? And then inspiring to make them, want to get up and go do something. I want to change my life. I want to go and definitely go check out these new opportunities for myself. I want to change myself. I feel like I'm lacking in this particular area of my life that now suddenly this presenter and the show has decided to spotlight. And wow, this has just inspired me to really just again add quality to my life, right? So let's quickly just stop the share. I'm gonna just hop on over to. All right. So once again, just to review what is Fubby all about within Funny. So again, in this way, just remember to try and apply it to our new context of coming up with great radio promotions, contests, activations, that type of stuff, right? So funny, parody, slapstick, satire, party, black, that type of stuff, which I know that you can remember the previous lesson. I think when the one guy was presenting at was it next radio, right? Yeah. Um, the conference, and he was they had some questionable but cool competitions anyway. Useful. So consumer reviews, social good, news analysis, news updates, wonder, inspiring, fun, B, beautiful. Let's go B. Essentials. the essential pop, extravagant, minimalistic, anything that might be cute, and then ideas, spiritual, weird, biographical, heartwarming are examples of any and all of these particular aspects of Fubby, right? Okay. We decided to also include bold in there because that is important to be bold and to, try new ideas and try new stuff and definitely, have your own creativity really, really, really be robust is super important as well to just get those juices flowing when creating something cool. All right. So how does this start to segue between our content, our competitions, etc., our listeners? All the following types of content must be put through the Fubby filter. So this means, like, do they measure up to any one of these particular areas that we can say, okay, well, it's a good idea for for radio. It's important to make sure that a contest or a promotion, it's furry friendly. So, again, through the multitude of examples that we've gone through as well and seen the case studies through the videos as well, they definitely do fall within this whole Fubby methodology or construct, right? So without these aspects, it would be challenging to engage someone who's trying to listen to the station, trying to enjoy the content, etc. Right? But if the content does satisfy these standards that we have just mentioned or covering, then it will definitely work with the listeners, right? Make sure that the contest is fun for a passive listener. Once we said there, again, it's we've said there before. There's really only like a very minuscule amount of people that are literally actively taking part in the competition on air or online or whatever it is. But again, when it is airing in this context, a passive listener must be able to enjoy it. Maybe they're even watching something that is kind of like video content, or it's a live piece or whatever it may be on social media. A lot of us don't want to. We just want to watch stuff, you understand, and just enjoy it. And so think of those passive listeners all the time. Again, the question, the example of the quiz, like the trivia that someone can be answering in their car and saying, "Yeah, I know that one. Oh, I don't." Whatever it may be. Remember that one example that was given. It was so difficult that no one actually was able to get those songs that were played. Because it was like almost like half a second of these songs, but these songs were also not popular songs. They were quite obscure and within certain particular sub formats from again that one conference talk that was covering those best competitions. Yeah, it was great. I mean, it's great, because the thing is that people get frustrated, like, oh, what is this? And maybe they can only guess one, and again, guessing one was rewarded. In that context as well, right? Because the radio station knew, like, nah, there's no one that's going to get this. Again, not even the presenters knew any of the songs that they had played there. All right, promotions and contests are used with the aim to draw in new listeners, obviously, and current listeners, just to kind of repeat that and bring that home. But how does it actually work if the vast majority of listeners are tuning in for the entertainment elements, such as music or the information like news or the personalities? And that comes from Tracy Johnson. It's been referenced there. This is how it still works, right? Radio promotions will work to achieve some, if not all, of the following of these four aspects. One is to entertain the passive listener, get them to listen for longer, and talk about the content that is going on. Did you hear this person? Did you hear what that person did? Did you hear them scream? Did you hear them do the worst impersonation of Miley Cyrus or whatever it is? I don't know, right? Or how do they reinterpret as a like within a pop format or whatever it may have been. I don't know, right? To engage research participants and get them playing along and therefore listening for longer and talking about the content, right? To create platforms of engagement for brands and advertisers to make sure that we all over this and they are all over this so that we can make sure that the client is also happy, right? And then the last one, to gather detailed data on listeners to benefit both the station and its advertisers. Once again, how do we get this data? Surveys, people that do interact online, is probably the most easiest, the easiest way of getting that information because we use analytics from our online platforms to be able to kind of decipher, okay, they like this, they didn't like this. There was obviously large interaction or large sharing or large this or large that with different spikes. And what were we doing for this to actually happen, right? Um, okay, let's go to the. I think that is okay. Yeah, second last one over here. The second way that promotions work is obviously capturing that passive listener. And a third way promotions work is by benefiting advertisers. Of course, none of these are more important than the other. They're all equally important because again, like a great activation, great competition means a great, like a very happy client, right? Money well spent. They'll obviously come back and they'll spend more, but also, again, they're getting a lot of again because they're getting more customers. Again, the attraction is on, or the attention is on them. Yeah, it's just like it's all for the right reasons, right? So a great on-air audience participates, which obviously then builds that brand awareness because you're going to be saying this is the MTN $1 million giveaway, whatever it may be. You are a 1 million rand richer thanks to MTN, and then so on and so forth. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly sneeze. I'm just going to mute myself. All right, that's done. Okay, and so on and so forth, right? So we make sure that they are intertwined, like a brand to the content, to the competition. Embedded a brand messaging in the radio editorial, which is kind of exactly what I was saying, but also like how does MTN, for example, factor into the questions that we're asking in the instructions that we're giving them, the things that we're expecting them to say, do, be at, or whatever it is. Good communication of of short-term objectives. Thought I lost a point there or missed a point. Creation of strong positive brand association, and listeners can be directed to a point of purchase, like go make sure that you register here or you are a new client here, like normally to register, subscribe to a site, um, where the client can also have a database that they start building, so that they can start doing data warehousing. And again, it's all about data, right? That is super obvious. It's profitable. I'd say it's expensive. We want it, right? Data, very valuable. That's what I'm looking for, right? Okay, finally, promotions work because data capturing has become a vitally. I know I just mentioned that, but here it is there. Okay, so every radio station promotion should be evaluated against the following criteria. Will it be something that will increase our ratings, right? So increase our listenership. Will it create a great awareness? So will it be a talk of the town between our listeners? They're talking, they know, okay, they know more about the station, the station, they know more about the programs, they know about features, they know about the DJs, whatever it is, right? Will it help establish a personal relationship between the station and its loyal listeners, right? So, how do we do that? We connect through giving away, to being somewhere. Again, kind of repeating myself, but important things. Yeah. Really just placing ourselves like directly at the core of whatever they are doing within their life, right? And when it generates sales revenue, really important. Like that's how else do we live? How else do we keep the station alive, right? All right. So there you can go and again have a look at this particular link here. I want to end off with a video, and this you can take in your own time and go and have a read. Right. So just on that final thought during the lesson, think about, or this lesson, I hope you have thought about how Fubby and how you need to incorporate it into everything that you do. Let's stop here. Let's watch that final video. And It's 20 ways on how to promote your radio station. Now, it might not be specifically centered around competitions, but this is really good information from one of my favorites, obviously radio.co, that have always supplied us with quite a lot throughout the year. of great tips and tricks. Let's listen.
Hey,
Watch.
it's Rowan here from Radio.co. Remember the old saying, if you build it, they will come? Well, in today's globally competitive market, just having a product isn't enough. But using the right marketing methods, drawing people in is easier than you might think. So let's have a look at 20 quick and easy ways to promote your radio station.
Thanks for checking out Radio.co on YouTube. If you want to see more kit reviews, live webinars, and handy broadcasting tips, then give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click the bell icon.
20. Connect with guests using Matchmaker.fm. Communities bring people together, and a lot of the time it's not what you know, but who you know. Places like Matchmaker FM will find guests for you so you can have them on your radio station. It's developed by our sister company, Podcast.co. It's basically a social platform where you can talk to influencers and celebrities, so you always have someone on your show. And the best part is Matchmaker is 100% free. You can even put yourself out there, so you could go on like other people's podcasts and promote your own radio station. 19. Submit to internet radio directories. Internet radio directories are a bit like Yellow Pages, if you remember them. Places to list your station and be found by thousands of listeners trying to find your show. And if you're new, places like Streamer have out-of-the-box tools to help you get started straight away. Most notably mobile apps for iOS and even smart skills for Amazon Alexa. 18. Target your audience. Broadcasters often fall into a common trap, and that's trying to find a much wider audience when you should be looking for a smaller niche. As the saying goes, if you appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one. There are so many stations like Kiss FM, for example, which are going for a wider audience in terms of what music they play. So don't waste time on that and instead focus on your core demographic. Whether that's your local town, a subgenre of music, or even just a station about how much you like your dog. Make sure you have a niche. 17. Optimize your station with SEO. If you search for a radio station on Google, the chances are there will be in the #1 slot. But the art of SEO is getting found even when you don't put in your station's name. We don't have enough time here today to talk about SEO, but if you'd like to learn more on how to make your SEO better, click the link in the description below. 16. Build a social media presence. We all know that Twitter and Facebook have millions upon billions of members. With a baked-in audience, social media should be a no-brainer. So why not start a Facebook page, a Twitter profile, and include updates from your radio station, such as which presenter's on, what music you're playing, and any upcoming events you might be having. Number 15. Cross-promote with other stations. Cross-promotion is a way to showcase your station on other stations, and vice versa. Big broadcasters like Hbar and iHeartMedia regularly will cross-promote on different stations. This obviously benefits your own station and the station you're working alongside, so really, it makes sense. Radio doesn't always have to be competitive, and sometimes it makes sense to make friends in the industry. For instance, if you know someone that works at a station that mainly focuses on cats, and you run a station that focuses on your dog, then it makes sense for you two to work together because there's no threat there. The audiences are going to want either the cat or the dog, or maybe they'll want both. That was a weird analogy, ignore that. 14. Write blog posts. Want to keep listeners in the know? It makes sense to write blog posts. You could review new albums, interview artists, showcase something that's going on at your station that month. There's a whole world of possibilities, really. Liverpool-based station Melodic Distraction will regularly post blog posts just about general things they're covering. This could be upcoming shows, new DJs, and music they love. Not only are blog posts shareable, but they're also great for search engines like Google, which helps build your SEO. So you've suddenly become more discoverable for listeners to find your station. 13. Build marketing lists. Everyday life can be busy, and sometimes you're just simply not going to be available to make that tweet or send out a newsletter. Marketing tools like MailChimp will help you build lists with all your contacts on, so you can send emails through scheduling rather than having to do it there and then. It's so important you stay connected to your fans and you don't forget about individual ones, so having a list of all of them is a great way to stay connected. 12. Post on forums. Places like forums and message boards are a great way to find fans for your station. Even places like Reddit or Facebook page could be ideal places to find listeners. All you need to do is figure out what the niche of your station is and then find what sort of listener would enjoy that niche. Then all you need to do is go searching. Well, that sounds a bit menacing actually. Don't go searching, just research. However, don't just go in full throttle, this is my station, come listen, because people don't like that and it could be against community rules. So rather than just plug in here and there, why not join the conversation and eventually people will get to know the name of your station just through being part of the conversation. 11. Put up posters and give out flyers. This might seem like an old-fashioned approach, but guerrilla marketing is still a thing. Especially if you've got a local radio station, then this just makes sense. Putting up stuff like posters in cafes and bars in your local area, or even just putting letters through doors, will definitely help you get the local people to know about your station. And no, this doesn't mean that your station will stay small forever, because big brands like McDonald's and Guinness still post stuff through doors and put posters around. 10. Use paid adverts. So although social media is great, using it for marketing can be hard and it might take a long time to get anywhere. Using paid advertisements, on the other hand, is kind of like using cheats in a video game. It will get your adverts spread a lot easier and lots more people will see it. All the big social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter have advertising platforms, and there's even Google Ads where you can have an ad on the top of search results or even playing before a YouTube video. Number 9. Build backlinks to your website. Backlinks are kind of like signposts to your website. Getting links on other trusted websites will help improve your SEO and search engine rankings. So if you've got an artist or DJ that works on your station and they have their own website or Twitter profile, for instance, then why not ask them to link towards your website or try and get covered on something like the local news? Number 8. Host events. There's no better way to get people excited about your station than hosting events. Things like competitions, gigs, pub quizzes, or even fundraisers are bound to grab people's attention. And by giving your listeners the chance to get involved and maybe even win a prize or two, they're much more likely to stay with your station. Number 7. Offer discounts on merchandise. Everyone loves a bargain and everyone loves merchandise. If your listeners are passionate enough about your station, they'll want to get hold of merchandise. So why not offer discounts? And I don't just mean throwing a logo on a hat or a jumper, because most of the time people are not going to be interested in that. So why not think outside the box, like Shady Pines Radio, which have created loads of merchandise based on some really cool designs. And it's super easy today to make merchandise on places like Vistaprint and Awesome Merchandise, so it's not that hard either. Number 6. Invite regular DJs for live takeovers. Why not showcase the best and brightest talent? Whether locally or globally, inviting DJs to your station will bring their audience with them. Take Foundation FM. The all-female led station has a roster of really cool DJs and artists working with them. Number 5. Get local news coverage. Global news can overshadow everything else sometimes, so if you're a local station, it's best to focus on the local stuff. Now, most people might look at getting their station promoted on global news, but if you're a local station, then local news is where you should be looking. Local news won't make big waves or anything, but it will get you noticed by the right people for your station. But how do you do it? Broadcasters like IB for Live Radio regularly get coverage from local news because of DJs they're hosting or live events they're doing. So when you're thinking about doing those live events we mentioned earlier, think about who you can invite from the local news. Number 4. Develop good listener communication. Going back to social media now, and when you think about it, radio is really just one way. It's you talking to someone else. With social media, they get to talk back. By developing relationships with listeners on social media, they're more likely to tell their friends and their family to come and listen because you actually spoke to them. It's also really easy to start polls now on places like Twitter and Instagram. So if you want your listeners to get involved straight away and you want to run like a quick 1-hour poll while you're on air, you can absolutely do that. Number 3. Repurpose past shows. Big stations have presenters on around the clock, but small stations don't have this fortune. When you're not around, why not repurpose live shows that you've already done? With our platform, Radio.co, you can record shows directly from your station, whether that's you and another DJ chatting, or just a curated playlist. And if you want even more shelf life, why not upload a video version to YouTube, or a podcast version, using our sister company again, Podcast.co. This will allow people to catch up on their own pace and not feel like they have to join in live every single time. Number 2, produce the content your listeners want. There's a reason why most big stations will play the same tracks over and over again, because that's what the majority of their listeners want. That doesn't mean you have to play the top 40 hits on repeat, far from it. Instead, just find the content that caters to your audience the most. So for example, if a song you played the other day went down really well with your listeners, play it again today. Or if a presenter on your station in particular is doing very well, why not push them? Number 1, create clear call to actions. Most listeners are quite passive and only a fraction will engage further than actually tuning into your radio station. So if it's through ticket giveaways or feedback, if you make it very clear how people can engage, such as giving out your email or your social media handle on a regular basis, people are more and more likely to actually engage further. When our friends at Melodic Distraction had to move their studio, they created a Kickstarter page. By mentioning the Kickstarter page on a regular basis, they managed to raise over $50,000. So through mentioning over and over again, people will eventually go and engage further. And that's our 20 ways to promote your radio station quickly and easily. But have you found success with other approaches? Let us know down in the comments. And for more videos like
I'm just laughing at these captions here. Okay, great. Hope you enjoyed this week's lessons, and I shall see you in class next weekend. Have a great one.